Jain students, today we are going to continue with the chapter Government Budget and the Economy. It's a part 2 video. So it's on the basis of the following concept, that is we are going to study the components of government budget. So in the components of budget we are going to study two concepts. They are receipts and expenditure. So what and all the money that the government receives is known as receipts. So under that it will be coming under another two classifications, that is revenue receipts and capital receipts. Then the expenditure part it was meant by the what and all expenditure that has been given by the government for the welfare of the people. That is which and how much amount has been spent by the people for the development of the economy. So that's it's also classified into two, that is revenue expenditure and capital expenditure. So next we can see what is the revenue receipts. So revenue receipts is which is neither create any liability nor cause reduction in the asset of the government. So that's known as what a liability will not be created, or it will not affect in the assets of the people. So that's known as what the revenue receipts is. Example is tax collected by the government. So they are regular and recurring in nature, and the government receives them in normal course of activities. So each month, suppose say employee has to pay the what tax, so it's a recurring or repeatedly got by the people to the government. So that's known as what a recurring in nature. And interest received by government, it is also known as, another example is interest received by the government. Then we can say that, and we have to keep in mind the definition for the revenue receipt, that is receipts which neither creates any liability nor cause a reduction in the asset of the government. So keep in mind that borrowings by the government will not be included under revenue receipts. It is not included. So it's a liability to the government, so it is not included, and the money has to be returned back to the person from whom we are taking the borrowings. So it's a liability to the government, so it is not included. So again, the revenue receipts have been classified into two, which and all tax revenue and non-tax revenue. So in this tax revenue, we may find income tax, corporate tax, and goods and service tax. And in the non-tax revenue, the following components are to be noted, that is interest, profits and dividends and fees and license fees. So under tax revenue, again it is classified into two, that is direct and indirect taxes. So direct taxes, under indirect taxes, income tax and corporate tax will be coming, and under indirect taxes, goods and service tax or GST is coming. So in detail we are going to see. So tax revenue, it's classified into two, that is direct tax and indirect tax. So under direct tax, liability to pay the tax and actual burden is on the same person. So that's known as what a direct tax. So here liability to pay the tax and actual burden is on the different person. So that's the indirect tax. So in simple language, we can say that we are paying the corporate tax, the land holdings which and all we have, and on the basis of that we have to pay certain taxes. And also if we are having higher income than the tax level, we have to pay the tax to the government. So that's a liability to pay the tax, and the actual burden is on the same person, the same person. It's a direct tax that we are giving directly to the government. So in the indirect tax, it's liability to pay the tax and actual burden is on a different person. So that is, if a shopkeeper sells a clothes to the consumers, so he will take a certain percentage of amount as a tax, that is known as GST. So it's we are paying to the shopkeeper and the shopkeeper pays to the government. So that's a liability to pay the tax and the actual burden is on a different person. So the shopkeeper pays the tax to the government. So that's known as what? Indirect tax. Direct tax, with the example of these figures we can explain. For example, salary of a government employee is 50,000 gross income. So he is credited of 45,000 to his bank account. So here 5,000 is deducted as a income tax. So he has to be paid or paid the income tax to the government amounting 5,000. So it's directly taken from the person's account, so or salary that he has to pay to the government. So that is known as what? A direct tax. So here is an picture showing the GST imposed by the government to the restaurant holder. So if the restaurant holder takes the money from the customers of 210, that is 200 plus the tax, so it's known as what? GST. 10 is known as GST, and it's a burden to the other person, that is the consumer's burden is the 10 rupees, and the liability that the government has to take from is the restaurant holder. So the restaurant holder is having a liability, so he has to pay back to the government. So he will be collecting the the amount from the consumers, and he will be paying it to the government. So that's known as what? Paying rupees 10 to the government. So that is known as what? Indirect tax. So tax revenue, it's classified into two, that is direct tax and indirect tax. So under direct tax, we can say liability to pay the tax and actual burden is on the same person. So second point is imposed on individual and companies. And the third point is the examples, that is income tax, corporate tax, wealth tax and interest tax. So these are the liabilities to the individual or certain companies. So that's known as what? A direct tax. There the government incurs the tax from the individuals or companies. Indirect tax, liability to pay the tax and actual burden is on the different person. So imposed on goods and services. So it's only single tax that's known as what? A goods and service taxes. So all India, only one tax have been taken, that is known as goods and service tax, that is GST. Next, non-tax revenue. Non-tax revenue refers to receipts of the government from all sources other than those of tax receipts. So that is known as what? A non-tax revenue. So we have other sources that we can take money. So that's known as what? A non-tax revenue. So the main sources are through interest. Government receives interest on loans given by it to state governments, union territories, private enterprises and the general public. So interest receipts from these loans is an important source of non-tax revenue. So non-tax revenue is the interest that the government gives loans to the other union territories or private enterprises or general public. So from them government may receive interest. So that is known as what? The interest concept in the non-tax revenue. So that's the first point. Next, profit and dividends. So government earns profit through public sector undertakings like Indian Railways, LIC, Bell, etc. So it earns profit from the sale proceeds of the products of such public enterprises. So government also get dividend from its interest from its investments in either companies. So these companies may pay profits or dividends that they receive to the government. So this is known as the second component, that is profits and dividends. Next is fees. Fees refer to charges imposed by the government to cover the cost of recurring services provided by it. Such services are generally in public interest, and fees is paid by those who receive such services. So it is also a compulsory contribution like a tax. So it may be court fees, so registration fees, import fees, etc. are some of the examples of fees. So for court fee and all, we may be charging some simple charges for the forms or any other proceedings. So that is known as court fee. So that has to be paid to the government. So it's a fee concept. So next is license fee. It is a payment charged by the government to grant permission for something. For example, license fee paid for permission for keeping a gun, or to obtain national permit for commercial vehicles. So these are certain fees has to be paid while taking license for some purposes. So that is license fee. Next is fines and penalties. They refer to those payments which are imposed on lawbreakers. So some are breaking the law. So for them, the fines and penalties have been imposed. So for example, fine for jumping red light or penalty for non-payment of taxes. Then fines are different from taxes, as former is levied to maintain law and order, whereas the latter is imposed to generate revenue. So that's a simple difference. Next, estates. So it refers to the claim of the government on property of a person who dies without any legal heir or a will. So it's the estate. So it refers to claim of government on the property of a person who dies without any estates or any legal heir or will. So it comes under estate. So if in such a property may be falling under government, so it may be undertaken by the government, which the property has no owner, so it is undertaken by the government. So the income from such property belongs to the government. So we had completed the non-tax revenue, then we had completed as such the revenue receipts, and then we are going to start capital receipts. Next topic is capital receipts. Capital receipts which either create any liability or cause reduction in the asset of the government. They are non-recurring and non-routine in nature. So it creates what liability, and the assets of the government has been reduced under this capital receipts. So when you see the examples, then only you may understand what it is. So capital receipts in detail we can see. Capital receipts, so as you know, the capital receipts of the central government refers to all those receipts or inflows to the consolidated funds of India which create liability of repayment or involve reduction in the asset of the government. So that's known as what? This capital receipts. So these receipts are obtained by the government in the following forms. The next is sources of capital receipts. So we receive this capital receipts by the following sources. So they are, or it may be said as components. So they are recovery of loans. So the central bank offers loans to the state government, union territories and local bodies, etc., to cope with their financial requirements. So the loans are recovered by the central government from borrowers and they form a part of capital received. So that is known as recoveries of loans. So next is borrowings and liabilities. Sometimes the government borrows funds from different sources to meet its financial requirements. So these borrowings create liability for the government, and the government may borrow funds from the general public, and it may be Reserve Bank of India and also foreign governments and other bodies. So next is loan proceedings from abroad. So loan received from some foreign government is a capital receipt. So it is an external loan to the paid to be paid in future years. So loans and proceeds from abroad also come under capital receipts. Next topic is other receipts. So besides recoveries of loans and borrowings, other receipts include items like disinvestment. So it means the funds received from the government from the sale of part or the whole equity share of the public enterprise to the others. So such receipts are also called non-debt capital receipts because it causes reduction in assets of the government. So it's disinvestment means selling out of government shares to the private public. So that's known as what? The disinvestment or privatization. It is also known as what? Privatization. So difference between, next we can see the difference between revenue receipts and capital receipts. So the meaning of both has to be written. So those receipts of government which do not create any liability or reduction in the assets of the government is called as the revenue receipts, or it's known as non-debt creating receipts. So there it will not create any debt. So next is capital receipts. Those receipts are the central government which flow into consolidated funds to the India, and they create liability or involve reduction in the assets of the government. So that's known as capital receipts. So example under revenue receipts is tax receipts such as personal income tax, corporation tax, GST, non-tax revenue such as fees, prices, license and permit, etc. And under capital receipts we can say that, for example, recovery of loans, borrowings by the government, etc. So nature, these receipts are recurring in nature, which is received every year. These are the non-recurring nature, which is not received only during a particular period. It's received only during a particular period. Another difference we can see is direct and indirect tax, which we had studied sometimes before. So that's a basic difference is these taxes are levied upon income, services, property and gifts, etc. And indirect taxes, these are levied upon consumption and expenditure. So next we can say impact and final burden. So the impact initial money burden, and the ultimate money burden falls upon the same person. So in the indirect tax we can say that the impact and the final burden of these taxes fall upon different person. So no shifting of tax burden is possible. Here there is a possibility of shifting the tax burden to others. So for example, we can say examples are in the direct tax, the income tax and corporate tax, and in the indirect tax we can say examples of these taxes are GST, that is central GST, etc. Okay, hope you understood the concept. Thank you, students. If you have any doubt, please contact me. Thank you.